The 2K26 news cycle is just about underway now, and as always to start the year off, we got the new album covers for the new edition of 2K. And this year, I'm going to do something a little different to start the year off. I'm going to review each album cover. I'm going to give my thoughts on it. I'm going to review some fan-made covers that I think are good or could have been better covers than what we got. And we're just going to have some fun with this one. To start off, we're going to review the standard edition. It's the edition with just Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on it. And well deserved, he's the MVP, Finals MVP, excellent season. I do think that it's kind of a basic cover though. It's okay, it's not bad. It does seem like a bare minimum cover, something that, you know, anyone could have thought of, not very creative. I think 2K has a lot more creative people that could do a much better job than this. And I'm actually kind of confused why 2K hasn't adapted the idea of just like running a contest, best album cover, best, you know, theme, and having the people vote, and, you know, just paying the one person who does the album cover, you know, a good amount of money. Like, you're helping someone grow, you know, I guess you're helping another business grow, and it's complimentary to you. It's not like it's competition, and you involve your community in the game making process, which makes them more interested in playing the game when it comes out. Next up, we have the WNBA version, which has Angel Reese on the cover, and I am absolutely not accepting any Angel Reese slander. I do understand there are holes in her game. I do understand how good Caitlin Clark is. I do understand how much each of them have grown the game, but there's no Angel Reese slander on this page. She is still a pretty solid basketball player. She has holes in her game, yeah. She could be a lot more efficient. We all know it, but the hate that she gets is actually crazy. The hate that she gets is insane. Like, people expect so much from her, and they look at her faults and they think they have to put her down to, you know, say someone else is good. But as far as the cover, I think the cover is pretty decent. I think it's probably the best basic one, but it's only like marginally above Shai. It's still a very basic cover, which I feel like a lot more effort could have been put in on. The next cover we're going over is the Carmelo Anthony cover on the Superstar Edition, and it's probably my least favorite out of all of them. Yes, it's very nice to finally have Melo on a 2K cover. I mean, well deserved after a long career and all that. But it's just like really basic. It's just him with 2K26 in the background. This probably couldn't even be a thumbnail for a YouTube video. And I'm not one of those people who are here to just overly trash 2K for likes. I just really don't like most of these covers. However, we are getting to the best cover by far, which is the cover of the Leave No Doubt edition, which I think is the only cover that's actually really fire. I really like this cover. If I was still like getting regular copies of 2K instead of always getting the digital, I would absolutely get this cover of 2K. I would pay the extra just to get this cover specifically. Now that we made it through the obvious and predictable part of the video though, it's time to review some fan-made covers that I think would have been fire in certain situations, and some that I think still could have been fire and would have been better selections for this year. And if you have made it this far in the video, be sure to drop a like for me, because it really helps out the channel and really helps get my content out there. And if you see some of your work in the video and you weren't credited, I'm sorry. You can always leave a comment and say that's yours. It's hard to always backtrack and see who was the original creator on some of these artworks, but definitely shout out to you if your work is in this video, because I believe you did a fire job, and I believe 2K should hire you and really give you that badge. And the first one we're going to get to is probably my favorite, because it's like the pettiest one out of all of them. Someone said the cover should have been this picture of Luka Doncic staring a hole through Nico Collins. Now, the inner petty in me like really loves this. However, the Lakers didn't do anything. If the Lakers would have just made the finals, I would have loved this as a cover. But you know, 2K is also not going to stir up trouble in real life. But this one, I'd got to give it like an 8 out of 10 just for like the creativity and the pettiness. And I just realized I didn't put a number rate on the other covers. I'm going to give the Shai cover like a 5. I'm going to give the Angel Reese cover like a 6. And I'll give the Melo cover like a 4.5. And I'll give the best cover, the Leave No Doubt edition, probably like a 7.5 or an 8. I think it's actually the only one that's a decent cover. The next cover also might be the most fire cover of them all. It's this cover with Tyrese Halliburton in the sea of Pacers fans just looking off. Now, if he doesn't get hurt and the Pacers win Game 7, this would have been the most fire 2K cover of all time. You would have had to obviously blur out some of the faces in the background because that becomes a legal issue. But oh my goodness, this would be an absolute fire cover because no one predicted the Pacers to go that far or be that competitive, and they did it on the back of Tyrese Halliburton. Just off creativity, I think if it were the cover, I would give it like a 9.5 out of 10, especially if the Pacers would have won. And the final few that I have are going to be very Thunder centric. They're going to be ones that really possibly could have been the cover. I know the cover doesn't usually matter on who won and everything, but based off the way things worked out, I think these will probably be the most likely covers. So let's get into these. The first one is going to be this picture of the Thunder holding up the championship. Of course, Shai has the MVP. And I think this would have been a fire cover if it was more Shai centric. Like if you would have found a way to make him pop more. Because like I said before, the cover of 2K isn't really like centered around who wins the chip. So it's a good concept. It's a great way for it to play out. But if it would have displayed Shai more, it would have been a great coincidence and a nice cover. I think this would have been about a 6.5 out of 10. Next we're going to go with is this picture of Shai at the free throw line. I think like to fit the simplistic style that 2K is trying to go with, this would be the best one. The background is really clear. It's like Shai by himself, but it's a great like concept to highlight the player that is featured on the cover. It doesn't prominently show his face, which I think is something that they might want to, you know, look into as a business. But I think this one would be maybe like a 7.2 out of 10. I think, you know, there would have to be a little bit more in the background, but if you want to fit the simplistic style that I think 2K has been going for the last few years, I think this would be better than what they went with. Next, I'm just going to highlight a group of 3. They're all Shai Gilgeous-Alexander like type covers, but I think they're all about in the same area. They just have like more color pop backgrounds. They're still simplistic, but they're also very good. I think all 3 of these are about an 8 to 8.5 out of 10, but I think they all run absolute laps around the actual covers that we got. The final cover we're going to do is one that I believe is by far the best cover that I've seen so far. It's one of Shai. It's got the simplicity, but at the same time, it's also got the color pop background. It has his face prominently shown. It has everything that I've mentioned that each one of these things are kind of lacking. This one is a 10 out of 10 by far. This would have been an excellent cover for 2K this year. I think whoever made this one, you cooked up with this one. You did a great job with this one. But if you have different opinions, if you think another one is more fire, if you think the basic ones are more fire, let me know in the comment section down below. And make sure you share this video with at least one person to help me grow. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, show some love, do something, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.